And we're off to the races. Ladies and gentlemen, how are we doing? Hopefully everybody's kicking off the new year on a grand scale. Everyone's having whatever you're having, tamales or all the wonderful pastries. I understand some people here, they do this thing that's like a coiled bread, where if you find the baby, you have to throw a party for a year for somebody. I mean, these are crazy things. Other people, they start with their mantras. I saw somebody chanting outside. A lot of great things are going on. Just whatever you do, drink responsibly, right? Or get high responsibly. I don't know if there's such a thing, but I have a wonderful, wonderful guest. I cannot even. I'm giddy. I really am. She's a wonderful actress. She's a producer. She's a writer. She's a comedic genius. She's my comedy coach. On Almost Famous Radio podcast, you guys, we're joined by an award-winning comedian, actress. You've seen her on Superstore, The Goldbergs, Jimmy Kimmel Live. She's toured over 20 countries. She's entertained the troops, fellas. That's big on my book. She's shared the stage with the likes of Jay Leno, Bill Burr, just to name a few. And she has a great special, guys. It's called Cormick Sutra. So we're going to hear all about that. Guys, it is my utmost pleasure to welcome. Please, I was going to say to the stage. I might as well say, right? To the world stage, my good friend, Renee Percy.
Thanks. Hi, Jim. That's quite an intro. I feel like the whole crowd, which was you, was into it. That's cool.
Well, I'm excited to have you on. First and foremost, thank you so much, because it means a lot when you said yes and you're able to come on. I mean, given your stature. I forgot to also mention you were on a Degrassi TV show in Canada where you started. You're Canadian, and you were a child star. And that's fantastic. I spoke to my wife earlier about you, and I had, obviously talked to her at length because I've taken classes with you. And she goes, you know what? I remember that TV show a few years back in Canada, and a few people have, a few stars have come out of that. So, yeah, so she's watched it apparently in the past, and it's been some time in 1989.
Now I was a child.
Yeah, it's been a minute. And since then, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was 12 and 13 when I did that. So it was a long time ago.
Maybe 10, 15 years ago, we'll say.
Yeah. But no, but not in 89. The show started then, but was I on it then? Anyway, I wasn't on it from the beginning.
In the 90s. You're in the late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, I don't even know where to start. I have so many questions I could throw at you, but I want this to be as organic as I possibly can.
Sure.
What's it like being a child star and going from that to then being on the world stage as a comedian? And then, by the way, this show it carries like more of a serious undertone, if you will.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So you want me to answer seriously? What was it like? Honestly, I was not a child star. In Canada, we don't even really have a star system at all. So even if you're on a big TV show, we don't like having stars in Canada. We like everybody to be the same. And honestly, there were much bigger people on that show than me. I was a very small character. I walked the halls and ate cookies in the craft service room for 2 years, and it was the best job I've ever had. So it was, but it was my first foray into the world of entertainment, and sure. I knew from then that that's where I wanted to be, and that's the only place I have been. So
wow,
I have no fallback plan. So if this doesn't work, so I'm all in, Jim. I'm all in. No other employable skills at this point.
Anytime it's funny because the timing is everything, as they say, and it's just so, obviously you've been doing this for so long. You're a pro. I wouldn't call you a veteran, but you're fantastically, you've paved the way for a lot of other people behind you, and a lot of folks that you've taught over the years and stuff. Your timing is impeccable. I just want you to know that. And I'm sure you've been told by lots of people. I mean, obviously the laughs you get when you're on stage, but honest to God, that timing is something else. Like anything you say is funny, just so you know.
Thank I was trying to mess up my timing to show you that. No.
Um, so let's start. Growing up, what was it? It's like a nurturing environment. Your parents, were they all in for you? Being in show business, or what was the household like? What was that? To take us through the
Yeah.
process of your childhood and whatnot.
Well, they were into it because my parents were both in the arts as well. My mom was a dancer and my dad was a musician in a rock band. So, they
Woo!
didn't really have any right to say that I couldn't be in entertainment. Um, they were definitely wary of it because they had also been in it their whole lives and were also very poor. So,
Yeah,
uh, they were kind of hippie, peace, love, but also like maybe get a real job too.
yeah,
So, yeah. Uh, but that never happened. So yeah, I've stuck it out. So they had to be encouraging because honestly, I got on Degrassi when I was 12, but I auditioned for 3 years before I booked it. So 3 years in a row, my mom had to take me to those auditions, and then
yes,
until my third year that I finally booked it. So they must have, been supportive.
yeah. I'll say, because after my dad would have been like, after the second time, you're not getting it, dude.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I now that I think about that, that's pretty like precocious of me as a kid to be
Yeah,
like, I'll get them next year. Like I
yeah.
took rejection from an early
From
age.
early on, yeah, from the outset. From the
Yeah.
outset, you're already you're ready to bounce back at anything that was thrown at you. I love that, the tenacity, such a young age. And which brings me to my next question, I guess. When does Renee decide, I want to be a comedian, this is it, this is what I want to do, I want to make people laugh and do it full time? Like, I mean, when does
Okay.
that start? Or, did you make a few people laugh and thought, yeah, I could do this?
Yeah. Well, okay. There's two answers to that. The jokey answer is I had not a great childhood, and I like to like make everybody laugh because they were crying. So it was easier to be like, hey, I'm gonna make jokes. So that may be where it came from. But I think
Mhm.
that's the origin story of a lot of comedians of trying to overcome or deal
Laugh
with.
at the tragedy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's either that or you cry, and crying and laughter are very close. Um, but I actually caught the bug for it. It was on Degrassi. When I was on that show, in between seasons, they would do something called a workshop where they would, because it was all kids, right? And none of us were professionally trained at that point. So they would do these acting workshops with us during the summers, and then at the end, it would culminate in a talent show for the entire cast and the writers and producers and everybody, so that they had an idea of how to write for us or what to write. Because we might have some hidden talent. Like later, people discovered Drake and that he could rap, and so they wrote to that. And I was on the much earlier version, way before Drake. I'm much older.
Yeah,
Um,
my wife said that Drake,
yeah,
Drake was
that
on that
was
show also.
a later. That was the new generation of Degrassi. I was on one of the originals.
Mhm.
But anyway, so for my talent, I don't know why. When I was 12, I just said I wanted to do stand-up comedy. And my parents were like, okay. And I listened to a lot of comedy as a kid. I just loved it. And I didn't know how to write a joke, but I wrote a 5 or 10 minute set to perform. And it was the scariest thing I've ever done. And I remember being backstage and I contemplated breaking my arm. I was trying to think, if I slammed it in the door hard enough, could I break my arm? And then would they still make me go on? But I ended up doing it, and I got those laughs, and people were shocked, and I was shocked, and the laughter was the drug. It hit my vein, and I was like, ooh, I like this. I like this feeling. And so I didn't do it again for another 10 years. I mean, I was only 12 at the time, but I just remember that feeling. And from that point, I always gravitated towards comedic roles. I thought I was going to be,
Serious roles, but no.
yeah, I thought I did a lot of Shakespeare, and I wanted to go to Stratford and,
Mhm.
do Shakespeare. But even when I did that, I would play the fool or the goof or whatever. So I just got addicted to the laugh.
Yeah, you sure did. You like that dopamine hit, and
Yeah.
then So would you say it's a lot like that? Like you get, obviously, I don't know. I'm looking at it from a rookie point of view, I guess, I suppose, looking from the outside in, right?
Yeah.
Um, People that go on stage, they make somebody laugh, you get a dopamine hit. You're like,
Yeah.
all right, is this working, right? Does that still happen to you? I mean, or is it just they're with me, they're with me. I understand you guys get them to a point where, okay, we're kind of on the same page now, and then I got them now, and now they're with me. We're writing this together all the way. Is that how it feels, or you still get those hits of dopamine like the first, like when you initially started? You
No, you
heard,
still get it. I mean, I think comedians are addicts in some, like a lot of them end up in some ways being addicts in some other ways, but this for us
yeah.
is a drug. I do think it's addictive, that feeling and that
Hmm.
rush, that dopamine high. And if you're not getting it on stage, you're chasing it. And then if you didn't get it that show, you have to get back on stage because you need to get your fix. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of a dark way of looking at it, but I do feel like it is a feeling that we're constantly chasing.
Seeking
Yeah.
to have. Um, and you remember the first time? Obviously, you said yes, I do. But do you remember the first time you got on stage, like with quote unquote professional comedians, with
Yeah.
people that
It
do
was,
the craft?
yeah. Then it was in my 20s. And I hadn't done it since I was 12, but I did it once. And a friend of mine was very encouraging. She's like, "You're funny. You should try stand up." And I was like, "Yeah, maybe." And we were at this, I don't know, theater, and they had a sign up for next month for this um, open mic kind of theater night. And so she dared me to do stand up, and I dared her to do this one woman show thing she was doing. And I looked
Yeah.
at the date, and I only agreed to it because I knew I was going to be out of town. and I was like, in my head, I was like, "Ooh, I screwed her. She's going to have to do her thing, and I'm not going to do mine because yeah, it started from me trying to screw over my best friend, and as all good stories do. Uh, and I was acting at the time. I was going to be on tour, touring this little children's theater show. So I was like, I won't even be here. And then my tour got pushed a week or two, and I forgot. I never even wrote it down because I was like, I'm never doing this. And then the night before, they called and said, just to confirm that you're doing 10 minutes of stand up tomorrow night at the Factory Theater in Toronto. And I was like, what?
Holy mother of God, what am I going to do?
Sat down and I was like, and I wrote, I cried, and I was like, is this funny? I don't know. And then I went up and I did it, and I think I'm chasing that set. Yeah. That set was the one that, again, I was like, I got the veins. And I was like, yeah.
Now you have hundreds of syringes just hanging off your veins.
Oh my God. Now I was a full-on addict. I was like,
take
what
me.
you need, I'll do it. Like, give me the laugh. So yeah.
We can surely laugh for hours here. How would you describe your comedy style for someone that hasn't seen you yet, or perhaps is looking to check out your stuff? How would you describe or consider your style?
I would say I always get asked that. I need to have like a stock answer for that, but because I get asked that all the time, and I don't always know how to describe it. I'm very physical. I'm kind of big and broad and goofy and quirky on stage, but I'm still talking about real, like I hide real stuff underneath it. So you might be laughing, but then you're like, wait a minute, did she just, I don't know, teach me something? Not teach, but like I might have a strong point of view underneath all the goofiness. It's not just goofy just for the sake of being goofy.
Like the joke you have, and not obviously, I'm not going to deliver it. This is your joke. It's just the joke you have about being a mom, a stay-at-home mom. You don't have the children yet.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't have kids.
Yeah.
That's obviously So
talk about trying to have kids, all that kind of stuff. So it's real subjects, but it's done in a very fun, goofy way.
Let's talk about all the countries you visited. How many countries have you visited now?
Well, I visited more, but I just performed in my 20th country. Yeah, I was trying to get 20. Yeah. So that was cool. But a lot of that, I mean, in all fairness, a lot of it is because I do those military tours.
Yes, you do.
Every year I go perform for the troops. So,
And God bless you for
to
that.
the countries are because of that, not necessarily just because I got some
And
country.
I thank you, by the way, for that. So
Yeah, of course. And it's an
family
honor.
in the military, yeah, and that's the United States, and the fact that you do that is very awesome.
The fact that they bring a Canadian to entertain Americans is fun too. But yes,
Canada, America's the same difference.
North America. Yeah.
How do you are there? Do you find differences when you go to certain countries that they laugh at certain jokes more so than so we have different types of humor here in the States,
Yeah.
clearly. Um, do you find that like where's the one country you've gone where people may not have gotten certain jokes or you know
It's
what I
hard
mean?
to
Like
say
just
though, because when I do the military tours, I might be in Slovenia or no, I might be in I don't know wherever Latvia, but I'm performing on an American base, so it's all Americans there. And then even when I perform, I was in Slovenia and I was in Croatia and I was in wherever. It's except for those two countries actually. Other than Croatia and Slovenia, it's usually expats. So if I'm performing in Barcelona, everybody there is from a different country. Or in Japan, everybody is an English speaker. They might be from the UK, even, or Germany, wherever. So it's hard to say that country because usually those audiences are so multinational that everybody is from somewhere else. And it's fascinating to see what works. And I just did a show in Luxembourg last month, and
tell me all about it.
Everybody there was from a different country and spoke 5 different languages. So they're like, what language is the show in? English. Okay. And they all just switched to English. Like we're in America, we're like, we barely speak English and they speak so many languages. So there was maybe 6 or 10 Americans in the audience. That's it. So I could tell when that was an American joke. Oh, the Americans get that. There's certain references and things like that that are not going to be universal pop culture things. So you do kind of rework it for the audience, but then sometimes you're just like, nope, this is just for the Canadians, just for the Slovenians, just for the Italians, like depending on.
Did you ever go, hey, all 10 of you guys must be American because you guys got it.
100%. Yeah. I was like, now I know where the Americans are.
Well, there's 2.
Yeah. But the universal thing is that every country likes to make fun of America. So if I do that, then everybody's on board, usually. So,
it's funny because you mentioned the pop culture references, as it were. Like you think about obviously we all love our American darling TV black and white lady actress Lucille Ball. Watch Lucy, and a lot of their references are from the 1950s. Jimmy Durante, and then so and so. Like I have friends that are like, who the hell is that, dude? And I'm like, come on, it's the time period. You have to think, These are people from the old, and pop culture changes little by little. It does evolve, which is crazy. Now imagine a whole other country might not understand some of the pop culture people that we have as stars here in the States, know.
And not even culture, just sometimes like I had a joke about in the back of a Ford Fiesta, but then I was in Slovenia and they don't have Ford Fiestas there. That's not they don't know that car, or they don't know that. You have to like change. So sometimes I'm in my head a lot trying to remember all the different little things that I'm like, I got to change this to Hugo, and I got to change this to like, what's the equivalent of that?
Yeah. So it's like if you're in Mexico, Ford Fiesta would be, where's the damn Fiesta?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they would have a whole other relationship to that. Yeah.
So I love it because I'm sure the troops, I mean, it's like a standing ovation when you come up, people get on, they get all excited, we're going to laugh today. It's going to be on like Donkey Kong. Is what you, or it just depends?
Exactly my experience. They're very like, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, blah, blah, blah. Like they're used to like having to be very militant. And so they'll come in and like sit down and, but then you're like, it's a comedy show. And a lot of them they're very young. Like these are the infantry guys, mostly. They're in their 20s, they've never been to a comedy show before. They're not used to a woman talking to them the way I talk. And they're not used to being made fun of in front of all their friends, so I got to go in hard with them. And a lot of the things I talk about are not relatable to 20-year-old men,
Yeah.
married kids. Like sometimes they're like, stop talking about your stupid husband. Like they don't want to hear that stuff. So it's not an immediate standing ovation. It's I gotta work in a bunch of dick jokes and like
Yeah. Yeah. You
find
definitely have to rib them a little, huh?
oh
In
yeah.
order to get them warmed up.
Yeah.
Um, you know, so it's a good segue to ask, like, because we're talking about the audience members, how does Renee deal with hecklers? Have you ever gotten,
Mhm.
depends on the clubs you've been to?
Every comedian has to deal with them at some point, and I feel like these days the heckler is different than it used to be. It used
Okay.
to be like, show us your tits, because like men were like not used to seeing a woman on stage without a
Yeah.
pole. It was a different thing. Now it's much more common, but now everybody thinks that they're going to get famous if they get in your video because of all the
Oh,
crowd
yeah.
stuff. So
Right.
now people are just trying to like get famous or say something funny or like whatever. And so usually they think they're being helpful or they just want to be part of the show. So there's like three levels to deal with them. If they're just drunk and belligerent, they're never, you can put
Never
them down,
win that one. You're never gonna win.
slap them around verbally a few times. And if they don't calm down from that because they're too drunk to realize they're being made fun of, then it has to just be security and get them out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But usually you can have fun with it for a little bit in a way that then makes them not want to talk much more because they realize they're not winning this game and maybe I should just be quiet and listen to the show.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah, times have changed. They sure have. I'm glad for the better in the sense that, if you can't, obviously security is there for that reason,
Mhm.
to, carefully remove the fuck out of them.
Yeah,
Um,
it doesn't happen that much, actually, as much as people would think.
right.
Yeah.
It's like the smaller clubs, and it was probably, I would say maybe, when you have such a crazy drunken crowd, and it's, you typically, probably when you first start, in smaller
No,
audience.
you still have them. Friday night late
Really?
show is always a shit show. Friday night late show because people have been working all week and then
Yeah.
if you're drinking and then the show doesn't start till 9 or 10 at night and they've been drinking for a while and they're tired and drunk, it's like Friday night late show is always known as a shit show.
Let me ask you this. How hard is it to write comedy?
Extremely hard. I still haven't. I mean, I've been doing it for years and I still find
Really?
it very hard. Yeah, it's not easy. If it were
Yeah,
easy, everybody would do it. It is a very hard thing to do, but our job is to make it look easy.
totally. You make it look super seamless. I
Yeah,
thought when I, met you first, knock it out like out of the park, and then I'm like that SpongeBob 5 hours later.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It doesn't click. There's just so much to it. What's harder for you? Like, so obviously reading somebody else's lines. I mean, acting's not easy either, guys. You guys are gonna be watching this. There is obviously a method to the madness to everything. You have to work hard, long, grueling hours, learning the lines, learning the thought process from the character you're fleshing out.
Yeah.
So is that harder than stand-up comedy for you, or what would you say? Because you wear those both hats.
They're both hard in their own way, but I feel like stand-up's harder because it's just you.
You're all up there alone.
The writer, the actor, the director, the producer, the wardrobe, the makeup, you're everything. And you're out there by yourself. You have no support. You have no lighting guy that's going to make sure you look good. There's no, scene partner that you can run your lines with. It's you. So that's why I feel like it's that much more addictive because when it hits, it's all you.
You're like a rock star, like a true rock star. You're by yourself.
You are by yourself. But the reverse can be true too. If it doesn't work, it's all you. There's no one to blame. You can't be like, oh, the writing was really shitty on this project or the director was terrible. There's nothing to blame but you. So that's what makes it, I think, more addictive and more hurtful because the other thing is that stand-up is us. Like we're talking about who we are as people.
Very vulnerable.
Acting, you're putting on another persona, which
Yeah.
is not easy to do and get into that character and that mindset. But if
Yeah.
somebody doesn't like that character, they don't like the character. It's not that they don't like you. In stand up, they don't like you.
Ouch.
Yeah.
It's hard to go walk away and lick your wounds. Are
Yeah.
there, would you say, what's like the kind of the turnaround? Like there's a lot of comedians that start and then they quit because of that. You think it's a lot more than,
There's many reasons why, but yes, it's hurtful to have 500 people not like you in a room. You're like, oh, that
yeah,
hurt. But there's many reasons. It's a very isolating thing. There's nobody else to be accountable to. It's not like, at least on an improv troupe, you've got other people. If something doesn't go well, you can go to the bar together and cry about it. It's a very solo endeavor, and it's hard to keep going. And you got to book all your own shows and do your travel. You're a travel agent. You're a booking agent. You're a pitch agent. There's so much to it.
yeah,
Besides, doing the show is the reward for me. It's the 90% of the other stuff that you have to do to get to that place where you're on stage.
holy mother of God. It sounds very complicated and crazy and the logistics and you have to be organized, right? You really have to be organized.
You're your own business for sure.
Yeah.
That's why I tell club owners, they're like, oh, you want how much for how many minutes? I'm like, you're not paying me to do the time on stage. You're paying me for the years it took me to get to that place. You're paying me for the travel. You're paying me for the 9 hours it took me to get here. You're paying for like the time away from my family for yeah. And then I'm on stage for 45 minutes. But it's like, to get to that place is so much other work.
The BTS, it's almost the behind the scenes, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
everything
You're
people
paying me
don't
to
see.
travel. You're not paying me to perform. I will perform for free. You're paying me to travel to get there.
Let me ask you this, Renee. Like when you travel, do you travel in a group? Do you travel with the mentor, a person that's, your wing person, or obviously it could be your husband, it could be someone that a lady that a handler, or is it just you by yourself?
A lot of the time it's me by myself. I'm lucky though too. I've also worked with comedians that are much much bigger than me that have taken me with them, which
That's
is
awesome.
amazing. I mean, I featured
Beautiful.
Arsenio Hall a bunch. I
Yeah.
used to rode with Craig Robinson, and those are great because it's their
Wow.
gig and they take you, and it's amazing. But to get to that place, I have to play a lot of little clubs, in the middle of Idaho or wherever, and I don't have the money to bring somebody with me, so
Yes.
I'm by myself. I am very lucky
Mhm.
though. I do have a touring partner, and he was on the last two military tours I did. My
Mhm.
buddy Wayne White, who's a comedian out of DC. And the
Mhm.
two of us do a show together, which actually I want to promote because I don't know when
Yes.
this airs. But
As soon as possible.
we do a stand-up comedy interactive battle of the sexes game show called Brass and Sass. So he's a military guy. I am not. He's brass, I'm sass. And we do each 20 minutes of stand up. And then we do this 40-minute Battle of the Sexes interactive game show that is so fun. And we've been touring that around. And we're doing one night only in Los Angeles area because normally we're on the road doing it. And I think we're going to start doing cruise ships with it. But we're going to be at Flappers Comedy Club on Sunday, January 25th at 7 p.m. And we're going to do one night only, one show only of Brass and Sass. So if anybody is in town or around, grab a ticket to that because it's going to be super fun. So those shows are great. So so when I get to do those shows, we do get to tour together, which is really fun.
Wow. I'm totally up to going. I'm gonna see if I can bring my better half.
Yes. Oh, yeah. She'll love it.
That'd be
Yeah.
great. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Can I get a picture with you after though? I agree.
100%.
I get some with Mr. White. Yeah.
1,000%. Yes. Guaranteed. Yeah.
Do you interact with the crowd sometimes, like after the fact? I remember like the Ice House.
Mhm.
After the shows, everybody would come out and say hi to the people, take pictures, and that sort of thing. And that's what I liked about stand-up versus, obviously, right, as an actress yourself, a lot of when people do movies, like you kind of stand on. There's like a certain barrier, as it were, and you stand on this side, and people just say hi, and maybe one person will come out for a smoke, and then they'll take a picture with you to, part the potatoes from the steak, so to speak.
Yeah.
That's not the case with comedy, which I love. It's everybody's super grounded and keep their feet on the ground. And
I
I
think
love that about comedy. Is that the case with you guys also?
Yeah, I love meeting people after the show. I mean, I'm nervous after the show. It's weird.
Yeah,
I'm much more comfortable on stage. Off stage, I get like shy,
yeah.
but I do go out and I sell my merch and I talk to people and take photos and do all that. So yeah. Hmm.
Is there like do you have like when before you start, is there a mantra? Is there like breathing exercises? Do you chant things? What do you do to get ready for a show?
I do. Yeah, there is a little breathing thing I do right before I go on stage. Yeah. Yeah, just to calm myself and kind of get myself centered. And it takes 5 seconds because sometimes they're like, you're next. And you're like, what? Oh, and you just need to, you can't have too long of a pre show routine because you don't always know when you're next. So,
You've opened for some of the biggest acts. What's it like working with Jay Leno and Bill Burr? I
mhm.
mean, I love both of those guys. Bill Burr's I didn't
Yeah,
know that he had that accent, that was part of his shtick. And I saw an interview. I go, "That's not the Bill Burr I watched on stage." It's phenomenal. I thought that was
yeah,
cool.
he's very sweet off stage. He's quite quiet and lovely off stage. He's not at all like that, angry persona.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's so
But he
good
seems
at
to have gotten less angry. His last special, he was much more like introspective and like
it. Mhm.
he's worked on his anger, but he's very sweet off stage. Um,
That is
and
anger.
Leno is just he's a comics comic. He like is at the clubs more than me, if anything. Like he's out every night doing the grind and
Flappers, wow. There's always that flappers all the time.
Flapper's always at the improv and
Mhm.
he's still grinding it out. It's impressive. He's like
Yeah.
78, 77. I don't know. He's still grinding it out. He's a
If you don't
true
catch him at the, go ahead.
he's a true comics comic. Like I really respect it. He's not only doing stadiums or casinos or gigs that pay him $50,000. He's doing the shitty little clubs too. Not shitty. None of those clubs are shitty. But I mean, for his
I know,
level,
I know. Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
he's still just grinding it out with the rest of us. You're like,
Well,
what?
Johnny Carson would have never have done those little clubs anymore, right? And this is
Yeah,
obviously Jay Leno is Johnny Carson
yeah.
status. So, I mean,
He's
you're
still
handed over the show that Johnny Carson had, and then the guy before, Parr was it, or
yeah,
whoever
yeah.
that started the guy in the street or whatever in the 1960s, and you get these comedic geniuses. When you hear stuff like you're like, wow. Then Jay Leno was quick. It was super quick and very very quick witted and whatnot.
He's still out
Able
there.
to do that and come back to where it all started for him. Now let me
Mhm.
ask you, Renee, what is your favorite venue to perform at?
Like regularly or somewhere
Yeah,
ever.
like regular. Okay, so maybe ever,
Okay.
and then regularly.
My favorite venue in recent memory was, and only because this is so crazy to me, but
Mhm.
I got to headline a show at a castle in Slovenia, in Ljubljana, Slovenia. And they have this
Wow.
castle on the top of this huge hill. And it was like an 11th century medieval something castle. And it was mind blowing to me. Like the next day, my husband and I just went and bought tickets to tour the castle. And then I was like, I was performing here last night. Like 500 people were sitting here watching me last night. It was so
Breathtaking.
crazy and cool. And it was a wild experience going through like the belly of the castle and the green
Yeah,
room in this back of this castle. It was just so cool. And it was not like anything I've ever done before. So that was
yeah,
maybe my favorite, definitely this past year. And then
definitely. I say
um, my other favorites, honestly, are the improv in Hollywood. I love the Hollywood Improv and Comedy and Magic down in Hermosa Beach is always a super great club to perform at. Yeah, those are my favorite regulars. I'd say.
that's super cool. I really love that. Now you've been teaching for quite some time now. Do you love teaching, don't you? You love coaching, and
I do.
I mean,
Yeah.
hence your it's
Yeah.
this place that right behind you. I mean, it's amazing. Who have you? Are you allowed to say like who's made a little bit of a name, made some noise that's come out of your class, alumni, maybe, or ongoing?
I have a lot of students that are doing very well right
Okay.
now, and they're just crushing it. But the bigger name ones, I don't say only because a lot of them don't
Okay.
want people to know they have a
Don't
coach.
worry about it. Yeah.
But
You can tell
yeah,
me later.
I have lots
Next
of
time I
people.
see you, let me know.
Yeah, and I have somebody at 2 o'clock, just FYI, so I do have to head off
Okay.
in
Okay.
5 minutes.
Yes, yes, yes.
But I night. It's Tuesday today, right? It's Tuesday, January 6th. So I don't know when this airs, but if it airs soon, or if it airs after, I'm on Comics Unleashed on CBS after Colbert on Thursday night. The what is Thursday? Thursday is the 8th. Yeah, Thursday, January 8th. Comics Unleashed on CBS after Colbert, and it also will stream on Paramount Plus. So if you have that, so you can watch it another time. But
I'm excited.
I'm excited about that.
I'm
Mhm.
super excited. Congratulations. Really quickly, let's talk really quickly on about the Cormic Sutra.
Oh, the
You
comic
you-
sutra.
Comic Sutra, yeah.
Yeah, it's a play on the Kama Sutra, but
Yeah,
this is
right.
comic sutra because my middle name is Sutra. That's why.
I was gonna ask you that. I saw some of that and I said, wait a minute, I'm gonna ask her, or maybe after the fact, or maybe she's willing to talk about that. That is true? That's a
My
fact.
full name is Renee Sutra Crystal Percy. Yeah, I say that my parents were hoping for a stripper. Ugh. Yeah, it's that's my real middle name. Explains my whole childhood. Yeah, in that one thing. So yeah, it's on Amazon Prime and Apple TV. It's still there. I think it's free
Yeah,
now. If you want to check it out.
I'm gonna check it out.
Um,
Renee,
yeah,
it's been fun. I got your information up. Is that information current? Renee Percy, comedian across the board?
yeah,
All right. We got to do this again, okay?
absolutely. And hopefully you'll be back in class soon.
Absolutely, I will. That's
Okay.
that's a wrap, guys. Almost Famous Radio Podcast. Yours truly, Jim Francis Mesa. Beyond delighted to have had my good mentor, Renee Percy, on the show. She's phenomenal. Guys, check her out. Go watch her. Yeah, that's it. Till next time, hello and goodbye until we meet again. Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you for coming on, Renee. That was
Okay.
so cool you did.
You
I
got
mean
it.
that from the bottom of my heart. Happy New Year to you and yours.